This right here is the Auxito A301 portable tire inflator, and I really wanted to do a review of it. It's a battery-powered portable tire inflator, has a 5,200 milliamp hour battery, and it also doubles as a battery bank as well. You can plug in your phone and anything else you want to it. Now, it goes without saying, obviously, they sent this to me for free, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to call out any issues that I have with it, such as when I did my All Powers R600 review, and the wireless charger on that thing just refused to work. So, the Auxito A301 is a battery-powered tire inflator. If you're at all familiar with my channel, you know I do a lot of EV camping and road trips, but also a lot of backpacking on my electric skateboard, my electric dirt surfer, and other electric rideables. And the one thing that they all have in common is that they all have pneumatic wheels. This Auxito says it could do anything from a raft or a basketball all the way up to a car tire. And because it serves two purposes, as a tire inflator and a battery bank, multi-use things just make my jimmies tingle. So if you're at all interested in doing any of the types of adventures that I do, or just having it as an emergency piece of kit to have in your EV, let's take a look at what you get in the box. First thing you're greeted by is the user manual, which is actually nicely succinct, and it's really small and good to keep on hand as a reference. Then you have the Auxito A301 itself. You got a little package with various adapters for Woods valves, Presta valves, ball needle valves, and a swim ring nozzle. You get a tiny little USB-C cord for charging it. You get a nice soft carry bag with a drawstring, and obviously you get the pressure hose, which is tipped with a Schrader valve. Spec-wise, it can go up to 150 PSI with fast fill up to 36 PSI. It shuts off automatically when it hits the specified pressure, has 25 liters a minute airflow. This thing's actually quite small at only 6.3 by 2.75 by 1.77 inches. The inflator tube has a length of 50 centimeters, has a 2-year warranty, and the battery is a 7.4 volt, 19.24 watt hour battery for up to 23 minutes of runtime. To be honest, the Schrader valve is probably the only thing I'll ever need mine for, so I probably won't use any of the other attachments. The screen shows your current pressure up top and the target pressure on the bottom. It also, for some reason, has a tiny little LED flashlight if you need it. I feel like everything and their mother's brother has a flashlight on it these days. And of course, we need to take this thing out and actually put it to the test. Having not used this thing yet at all, I wanted to test it out with my electric dirt surfer first. The front inner tube has a slow leak, so it always goes flat after quite a few days. Man, that thing's a little louder than I thought it was going to be. So that little test actually went pretty well and gave me an idea of how this thing works. And now it's time to move up to my Nissan Leaf, which has been sitting parked outside for half a year and the tires are looking rather low. It certainly takes longer than a bike tire to inflate, but it filled up my tires just fine, and one of them has a very, very slow leak and went as low as 25 PSI. That took a few minutes to bring it up to 40 PSI, which is what I set it for. The 5,200 milliamp hour battery on this thing is actually pretty small. If I were to charge my phone from it, I would only get about a charge and a half from that battery. That's how small it is. I probably wouldn't rely on this thing to fill up a tire from completely flat, but when it comes to just topping up tires, or if you have to air down for a trail, or if you get stuck, it can help put you back up to your max PSI. The only real super negative thing I have to say about this thing is the screen on it scratches super easily. As you can see, I have already scratched mine. When I was out testing this thing on my Leaf, the thing kind of flipped over when I turned it on, and just brushing up against the asphalt was enough to leave these scratches on the screen. I think it's probably a little bit too heavy to take on my electric skateboard backpacking trips, because the tires on my skateboard are rather small and a hand pump works just fine and is much lighter. But where it starts to make sense is on e-bike bikepacking trips where you can carry a little bit more weight, and also redundancy by having both the hand pump and the Auxito. And when I'm not actively on a trip, this thing will probably live in my Model 3 as an emergency piece of kit in case my tires get a slow leak or I get a puncture and I have to repair it and fill my tire back up. This thing seems like the right size for cars like my Model 3 and that sort of size, but when it comes to something larger like trucks and full-size SUVs, this might be a little bit underpowered. Auxito does make a larger version of this, the A501, which would probably be better suited to these larger vehicles. And of course, our review of this thing doesn't end here. Much like everything else that I get sent for review, we incorporate it into our adventures, and so if I have any failures or any issues with it, I will definitely let you guys know. And actually, what seems like an interesting idea is I think maybe every 3 months or so, I might make a midweek video that just touches base on all the things that I've been sent for review and how they're doing over time. Does that seem like a good idea? Let me know. If you guys are interested in checking this out, I'll leave a link down in the description. That's it for this one, guys. See ya.